Hey everyone, welcome to the Blessed is She channel. I'm Olivia and you'll be hearing my voice today. So today we're going to be talking about the Blessed is She liturgical planner. Specifically, I'm going to be showing you how I use the various notes sections of my planner and giving you other ideas about how you can use yours. But first, what is the Blessed is She planner? My husband would say that it's the thing that keeps our family running, and he would be completely correct. The Blessed is She planner is a Catholic planner that moves with the heartbeat of the church's liturgical year. It's color-coded based on the various liturgical seasons, like Advent, Lent, Ordinary Time, so on. And I'll show you the yearly spread of that right here. So you'll see this calendar over here shows you all the different liturgical seasons that we're going to be going through as a church family. Over here, you'll see all the different feast days listed, which is so handy for just celebrating more of the church's rhythms and experiencing maybe, some of your favorite saints' feast days. Marking it down in your calendar is a great way to remember that it's coming up and maybe think of ways that you want to honor that saint or celebrate their feast day. You also have a list of novena start dates, which is really handy if you want to make sure to be praying certain novenas. And then, of course, we have our holy days of obligation, which once again is very helpful to remember what days that we as Catholics are required to attend Mass on that feast day. So every month has a monthly layout that also involves color coding for the liturgical year. Then each week has the 2 planning pages, which are key. And we're going to be revisiting this section in just a minute. And after that, you have your full weekly spread that's broken down by the hour with your to-do list, with a check-in with yourself to make sure that you're practicing self-care for your soul and your body and your mind, and then also a section to record what you're grateful for that day. Because we all know that ending a day with gratitude just changes everything, doesn't it? It really just sets us up for an entire outlook of gratitude and thankfulness. So I could go on and on truly about everything that this planner offers and the options it provides. I have tried several planners in the past and nothing compares to the Blessed is She liturgical planner in my opinion. Because what the Blessed is She planner offers me is the same practical tools that I need to be able to plan and execute an intentional and meaningful and productive week. But it also gives me the richness of our faith. You see, we have the feast days up top under here. So I'm on track with what saints we're honoring, what liturgical season we're in, so that I can be mindful of that. I remember to take care of myself for the greater glory of God. I remember to thank the Lord at the end of the day for things that have been good, even on those really hard days. That's probably even more important. So like I said, I could just go on and on about everything that I love in this planner. But like I said earlier, today I'm just going to be focusing on the notes section. So I am currently using the 2018 calendar year planner. At the time I'm recording this video, it's summer 2018. So we're nearing the end, or at least, the second half of this year. Now, the 2018 and 2019 academic year planners are currently available for purchase in both a mini and a large size. And I'll put links for those down below so that you can check those out. This is the first time that we're doing a mini planner, and it's been very well received. Y'all seem to like the mini planner. I prefer the large planner, but that's another great thing that Blessed is She is offering us, to each their own and whatever's going to work best for your life and circumstance. The 2019 calendar year planner, so basically the way this is set up, but for next year, those are going to be available for pre-order so soon, so soon. And once those are, I'll come back and make sure to link those in the description below. So, like I said, I'm in a 2018 calendar year planner. For those purchasing the new planners, your planner layout will look just a little differently. At Blessed Is She, we're always striving to improve the planner from year to year, and we work hard to implement the feedback that we receive from the women who use this planner in their day-to-day life. So the new layout that you're going to be seeing offers even more flexibility. But what you'll see me working today is going to be present in the new, larger planner as well. So let's dive in. In order to get the most and best use from your planner, it's good to figure out how to make all these flex sections work for you. Now, there are two different types of notes sections in the planner, and I'll show you how I use both of them. So this is an example of your weekly spread. Again, you're going to see these two planning pages at the beginning of every week throughout your year. The first notes section that we're going to be talking about is this one right here. Now, in the new planner, so in the academic year for 2018-2019, that's available for order now, and the 2019 calendar year planner that will be available for pre-order soon, it does not say notes up at the top, which allows you even more flexibility and options to make this section whatever you need it to be to function best for you. But there will still be a section like this with these lines for you to be able to write or record, again, whatever is going to be most useful for you. The second notes section is going to be the big notes section here in the back, but I'll talk about that in a minute. So we have this notes section that's present in every weekly spread, and then several different full lined pages in the back. So let's talk about the weekly spread notes section first. Again, I'm just going to give you some ideas for using this section and tell you how I use mine. The first way to use this notes section is for, actual notes. Anything you want to remember from the week, any important information from classes or meetings, and so on. It's a great place to brain dump. Anything you need, this can be that flex section. It can get messy. You don't need to worry about it being pretty. Just whatever is going to help you have a happy week, a productive week is what this space could be used for. Sometimes I like to use this notes section as an overflow to-do list. Sometimes I like to keep my personal to-dos running over here in this section. And then sometimes I like to keep my work to-dos for the week on this side. For me, it helps to keep them separate in my brain and on paper, especially during busy weeks. So that way I know what I have going on personally and at home, and what I have going on at work. That's a way that I frequently use this notes section. Another way to use this section is for your budget. It's a great place to track your spending from that week. You can steward your finances well by paying attention to how much you're spending and what you're spending it on. So you can even make columns, what you spent your money on. So, Target or groceries, whatever, and then a column for how much you spent or how much you hoped to have spent, and then what you actually spent. And that way, it just gives you an idea of if you're staying on track with what you've budgeted. I mentioned this in a Blessed Is She blog newsletter, but another great way to use this section is as a health and wellness tracker. And I'll show you a little bit of how I set it up. Sometimes now I haven't filled this in yet. This is going to be a future week. But this is the way I set up my notes section several weeks. My notes sections frequently look like this. So let's say that there is something in your life that you want to keep track of. A good example is, let's say you suspect that you might have a food sensitivity, right? So you can use this section to map out your week, to record everything you ate in that week, and to record how you felt afterward. You can do this over the course of several weeks, and it can help you notice any patterns. So this way, it's an easy, at a glance, here's what I ate, here's how I felt, let's try to nail down, what might be going on. Another way to use this same kind of setup as a tracker is to, during times of high stress or even anxiety, I like to use that. I record the days and moments when I have those high stress or anxious feelings, and I take note of what triggered it. So on Monday, I might put, AM, I was feeling really stressed and overwhelmed. Here are some things that were going on. And so again, it just leaves me a place of quick reference to try to find triggers of those times of high stress or anxious feelings so that I can take action on them, bring them to the Lord in prayer, and make the necessary adjustments in my life to avoid those moments of high stress or anxiousness when possible. You could also map out your exercise routines for the week. That's another way that I use this notes section with this exact same layout. I just write down all the days of the week and I plan what kind of exercise I'll do that week. You can also use this notes section as a type of journal. In that case, I would just leave it blank like this. You can write thoughts, maybe favorite memories from the week. You can write prayers to the Lord for that week. You can write goals, hopes, dreams. Again, this section is so flexible. You can really make it whatever you need it to be to function best in your life and to be most compatible with your personality and that season of your life and what you're really needing this liturgical planner to do and be for you. All right, so now let's talk about the big notes section in the back. So it's going to be your very last tab in your liturgical planner. And honestly, this is where you can get even more creative. You saw how flexible the weekly notes section was. And this notes section in the back is just as flexible, if not more. So you're going to have several just blank lined pages like this in the back of your Blessed Is She liturgical planner. And you can use these again for whatever you want. The first and probably most obvious way to use this section is as an actual notes section. So you can record notes or lists from classes, meetings, conferences, spiritual direction meetings, whatever it is. It's a great place to just record anything that you want to remember. One thing I use it for is to keep running lists of things to get. So maybe things that I need to get for homeschool, things that I need to get for any parties or gatherings that I'm hosting. I just use this notes section as a place to map all of that out and to keep it all in one place. Because otherwise I'm going to have a million different Post-its everywhere and I'm going to lose them and then I'm going to have to start over, which is a waste of my time and it gets me frustrated and that's just silly. So let's just keep it all in one place so that you can just keep your finger on the pulse of everything that you have going on in your busy life. Sometimes I use this place as an overflow to-do list, especially if I have major work projects going on where it's going to involve several different tasks over the course of weeks or months. It's a great place to keep that as well. So if you work, consider using that as a place to kind of as a catch-all for major projects as well. Another way to use this section is again for your budget. It's a great way to do a more extensive budget than even in your weekly notes section. And it really helps keep track again of your finances so that you can steward them well. All right. Another way that a lot of people like to use this notes section is to record their child's school schedule. So you could write the name of your child, or each child could have their own section. followed by the school's phone number, their teacher's name and email, and any other important contact information. Then you could even record their school schedule day so you can take note of, when they're at recess or having a snack. For older kids, you could even include their full class schedule by the periods. So that way it's like a quick and easy reference for strategically scheduling appointments for them during school days. So you can, kind of be cognizant of what they're going to be missing and everything like that. And it's nice just to be able to glance at it throughout the day and say, oh, okay, my child's in this class right now, or my child's at recess right now. So you can just see what they're up to at that moment. Okay, so I'm going to show you some other examples now of ways that I use it. Another great way to use this is for recording gifts that you would like to get for your family and friends, or gift ideas. I have a different one that's filled out, but I created this extra one just as an example for you all. I like to write the name of the family member that I know that I'm going to be needing to buy gifts for. And then under each name, I just take note of different gifts that person might like to receive. So what I'll do is just pay attention throughout the year. If my husband or one of my children, or, I have a section for our parents and for extended family that we buy gifts for, especially at Christmas, we draw names, things like that. And then friends, things like Christmas time and birthdays for them. So I write their names, and then I just try my best to pay attention to anything they say they might like throughout the year. And I will write that down under their name. And y'all, this makes it so easy at Christmas time, and it keeps me from scrambling or feeling overwhelmed by needing to come up with all the ideas for all the people. Instead, I just, like I said, I try my best to pay attention to anything they mention throughout the year and record it here. That way, when it comes time to start purchasing for Christmas, I have a quick and easy reference. I bring this baby when I do my Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, and Cyber Monday shopping. And it just makes it so much easier to not overspend and to be very intentional about the gifts that I get my different family members. Another way that I love to use this notes section is to record a cleaning routine. So what I do here is I like to divide the notes page into quadrants and write down the cleaning tasks I need to do on a less frequent but routine basis. So all my daily chores and my daily cleaning and tidying, I kind of have that down to a system and habit now. I don't really need to write that down anywhere. But this will be different for everyone, obviously, just depending on your cleaning priorities, your cleaning preferences. Some of these things you may be like, girl, you need to be doing that more frequently. Some of you are like, I would never even think to do that, So it's just whatever is going to work for you. But I have tasks that need to be done annually, quarterly, monthly, and weekly. So when I plan my months and weeks, when I'm in the weekly layout, when I'm writing down my personal to-dos, I just flip back and refer here and to this page, and I see what needs to be done. Okay, so this month I know that I need to do all of these things. So I make sure to plug that into my to-dos in that particular month. Things that are quarterly, I pay attention and record when I've done that, so that then I know, 3 months down the road, it's going to be time to do these tasks again. And then with my annual chores, what I like to do is just assign one task to 1 month. Some tasks take longer, like cleaning and purging our closets. We may not have time in 1 month to be able to do that, to fit that into the margins of our life. It may take us, honestly, 2 months to get through all of the closets. But then other things like dryer vents, that's not going to take long at all. So this is another flex page that you can just make work however you like, but I like to use it as a reference to kind of stay on top of those things that come along with living in a space, in a home or an apartment. And that way things don't sneak up on me and I don't wake up one day and think, oh my goodness, everything is so bad and now I feel overwhelmed that I have all this cleaning and decluttering that I have to do. This kind of helps keep it more manageable so that I'm able to not feel overwhelmed by the cleaning tasks. Okay, the final way that I'll show you how I use it is to record projects. Now, projects have an unlimited amount of potential here. What I'll show you is projects that we want to do on our house, but you could also record work projects that you want to jumpstart. If you have a creative hobby like sewing or painting, if there's something in particular that you want to do, maybe you want to, knit a scarf for all your nieces and nephews, or maybe you want to visit somewhere that's really beautiful in your town to complete a watercolor painting. This is a great place to just record all of your project ideas, and you can make a column for the project. You can make maybe a date or time of year that you want to do that project, or even a deadline. And you can, put a checkbox there for you so you know that when you've got it completed, you could record any material things that you're going to need to complete. So, if you need to knit scarves for your nieces and nephews, you can write down the list of supplies that you need. Or if you're going to go somewhere to do your watercolors, maybe you'll need a fresh set of watercolors, and you can record possibly how much money that's going to cost you. And that way you can factor that in to your monthly budget and be saving up for that. But again, what I use this page for is projects for our house. So we live in a slight fixer-upper. It's livable. We've lived in it ever since that we've purchased it, but it definitely needs updating. So we're just kind of going through doing one project at a time according to necessity and what our budget will allow. But I like to keep a running list of projects for our home. And you can see that over here, I write down what the project is. I try to keep it kind of in order of priority, but again, life cannot be planned down to the detail. So a lot of times, things will get switched up if something becomes more urgent than it initially was. But I like to try to keep it running in order that we would like to complete the project. And I put a rough timeline of when we want to work on that project. Again, we're not married to this. I think something like this, and schedules in general, are a great way for us to steward our time, to steward our resources. But I think at the end of the day, the most important thing that we can do is always keep our plans, always keep our projects, always keep our day-to-day living open to the breath and movement of the Holy Spirit, right? And so that's another reason that I love this Blessed Is She planner, because as a type A personality, I can get very fixated on my plans and everything going according to my plans, but that's not very good for my holiness, and that's also not conducive to real life. So the Blessed Is She planner just helps remind me that as I plan my days, which is important for me stewarding my time well, to always keep in mind that all of this is always open to the Lord's plans. I make my plans and I do my best to make them with the guidance and inspiration of the Holy Spirit, but at the end of the day, my plans, my life belong to the Lord. And so we've got to always leave that flex space, both in our planners and more importantly in our hearts, for Him to work in the ways that He wants. So anyway, that was a tangent about house projects, but okay. So rough timeline that's always open to change in whatever season of life we're in. And then I also record the estimated cost. Again, that's just for our monthly budget and saving purposes. That way we know what's kind of coming down the pipeline and we can better prepare our budget to be able to complete those projects. A couple of final ideas for these big notes pages that we have in the back is you can use them as a book list. I have a lot of friends who use them to record the books that they've read throughout the year. Think of it kind of like an on-paper Goodreads. And what I like to do when I record a book list is I make different columns, and I write down the title of the book that I've read, the author, how many pages that book was, because, sometimes those heftier books take you longer to get through. And so when you get to the end of the year, you may think, man, I really didn't read a lot. But I mean, if you read Les Mis, then that will probably take you a good couple of months. So it's kind of helpful to put it in perspective. And then I also like to record the date that I finished. And then if you want to, for fun, you can give it, you can rate it using the star rating, 1 to 5 stars. Sometimes, I don't know if this happens to y'all, but sometimes I forget if I really liked a book or not, especially the books that, I don't love, but I didn't hate either. They were just good reads, but I may forget about them several years down the road. I can look back and say, oh yeah, I remember I read that book and I gave it, 3 stars. Awesome. So again, it really is like your on paper Goodreads. You can have a lot of fun with this. You can also use this planner or these notes pages as a bucket list. I think that would be so fun. And I'm actually going to try to do that starting this fall. I'm going to break it down by the seasons. Now, this planner I'll only be in until December. So I'll probably just do fall and the beginning of winter, probably get us through, Advent and more of like an Advent Christmas bucket list. But I would just write like fall up here and Advent Christmas and just record different ideas that I would like to do both by myself and as a family. And then that way, again, when I'm planning my weeks and I'm thinking, oh, we have a free Saturday morning, what's something fun that we could do? I could flip to my bucket list and kind of see some things that I recorded as, I thought would be fun to do together or, by myself. And then that gives me an idea of what we can do that day. Finally, another great thing that you can